This is the Prodigy Media Changing Voices Show. I am your host, Toyin Wariboko. In today's episode of the Changing Voices Show, we have on set a multi-award winning poet. He is also a publisher and writer. He is also a media consultant and a former lecturer of the Nasarawa Polytechnic, Lafia. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, Sir Graciano Enwerem. Hello, sir. Graciano Enwerem. Welcome on set, the Changing Voices Show. We've been longing to have you, and then so that you can come tell Nigerians all about you, the great things you've been doing in the poetry industry. Tell us about you.
Okay, good day everyone. My name is Graciano Enwerem, Nigeria's #1 poet, twice in a row, 2016, 2017, writer, teacher, media consultant, author of 3 books so far, and by God's grace, 3 more coming your way soon. That's much about it. Lectured for 2 years only, and ran back home to continue doing poetry. Because man shall not live by intellectualism alone.
Wow. You see, we followed you for a while now.
Yeah.
And then when in 2016, 2017, when you won the ECG rankings back to back, became the #1 poet in Nigeria, we were wowed. So since then, what has been happening?
Okay, so basically, winning War of Words was what brought me to limelight in the first place. I don't see much change as regarding the quality of poetry I write, or the quality of performance I do. The difference is in the visibility. I've always been teaching poetry since 2008. I was a footballer.
Oh, really?
Yes, I was. So I broke my knee in 2008 and focused my energy to poetry. So I started out writing very sad poems, angry poems, sad poems basically, because I was just few days to moving to Denmark. I was signed to an academy, Vialet. It's in Denmark. So it was that week we were supposed to travel. And then I broke my knee on a Saturday.
And you're not sure it's from your village people?
No, it's not from my village people.
Okay.
It's God's will. So I was so pissed as at then. I was just writing sad poems, continually. I was in school then. I was in my 200 level. So 300 level, of course, I treated my leg and I continued playing for the Nuga games. That's in school.
Yes.
But then I wasn't playing. I couldn't play professionally anymore. So my energy was channeled towards writing. I do all kinds of writing. The reason why I am known more as a poet is because it was poetry that was easy to write. And with poetry is like a blank slate. You can just feel anything. You can use poetry to do your drama skits. You can use poetry to do adverts. You can use poetry to do anything. And as a poet that is performing, you have the opportunity to meet with your audience directly. So it's easy for you to it's almost like you're an artist, like a music artist. There's almost no difference because you meet with these people, you talk with them, you have their contacts. How did I become a media consultant? It was like that. So poetry was quite easy. They say poetry is for lazy people, like lazy writers.
Never thought so.
Well, because you use few words to express so much. So you don't spend as much time as an author of a novel to write all of those things. In just 40 minutes, 15 minutes, you are done writing. And you don't also spend so much time mixing it into music and all. Just climb on stage, in 3 minutes you are done, you get paid, you go home. You don't need backup singers, except if you want to do what I do. But if you just want to do...
Now you're making it sound like it's just basic, it's just easy, comes... But you know that there is nothing creative that comes easy.
Yeah.
For instance, I have always admired poets because, first of all, how do they get these thoughts? Now, present these thoughts in an attractive manner. You understand that compels one to keep listening. And you call that a lazy man's job?
Well,
I quite don't agree with you on that.
Yes. It depends on how you look at it. Now, the mind is very fertile. Very fertile. There's a way you train your mind and you see all of the resource you need to have a piece written in 2 minutes, in 3 minutes. But if your mind is not trained that way, you would think it's very difficult. Normally it's difficult. But there's a
Now
way
you're
you train your mind. Now, Port Harcourt, not just Port Harcourt, Nigeria gives you materials to work with.
Sad materials.
Yeah, sad materials if you may. But you know, we know how to beat sad things into funny things.
Very well.
There's nothing that is sad that comes to Nigeria that we don't joke about.
Exactly. That's true.
One of my friends visited me from Lagos, and I told him, as we are going to the park to get a vehicle for you, you must see something poetic. He thought I was joking.
Okay.
As soon as we got to the park, one of the people working there said something. And he said, oh my God, oh my God. I said, I told you. Now, from the roads, rustic voices, people, market people, go to them and you will see, listen to people talking on the street.
Even the touts.
The touts. Look at what these guys are doing with rustic language. You see them saying, Bobby, no go good, though, and it's funny.
You understand?
Change it to poetry. It's poetry. Poetry is not that difficult. It's just you saying things with ornamental language. And we do that a lot here. Even the Port Harcourt slangs.
Now, listening to you talk, it's simply, would it be safe to say that without a proper education, you wouldn't be able to survive in the poetry business?
I would say yes and no.
Because I listen to the kind of words that come. Most of them are exquisite words, rusty language, ornamental words. You know, these are adjectives that you use to describe spoken words.
Yeah.
And then it becomes so pleasing to the ears.
Yeah.
So what must one do to become very good at poetry like you?
Very simple. A few years ago, I think that was about 6 years, I had issues with some of the popular poets in Nigeria, not River State, in Nigeria generally. They attacked me because I said anybody can be a poet.
Okay.
Because they were almost going to say that poetry is not for everybody. Get out. It's not everybody. Just give
Like
up.
they wanted to form a cartel thing around it.
Yes, and I was like, no. From what they were saying, it's like poetry is a talent. Leave it like that. And I'm saying, no, it's also a skill.
That can be learned.
That can be learned. Everything that is a skill can be learned by anybody.
Yeah.
I came to my Facebook and I said, that was actually what made me even popular that time. 6 years ago was it. So I came online and I said, give me anybody today. Just give me anybody that you are very sure can never be a poet. I just want to see the person be. Let me see if the person is passionate. That's all I need. Just be passionate, have a story of your own. When I met Samurai, I actually told him that I'll be using his case to talk, and he gave me permission to mention it. Samurai was Nigeria's best poet 2017. But when I met him, he had the H factor. He's Yoruba. Samuel Aremu Olayinka is his name. He had the H factor. People that will say, I hate you.
Yeah.
Instead of I hate you. So he had the H factor. He was a stammerer. He had grammar issues. And when he met me, I just won War of Words. That was 2014. I met him in July.
Okay.
And then he told me that he wants to write good poetry, that he writes, but he's scared of showing it to people. He showed it to me, of course. I saw that he had a message.
Okay.
But the grammar was wrong. And the truth is, we seem not to understand. If everybody writes well, then what is the job of the editors?
Then there's no job actually.
No job at all. You don't have to write in
well.
pure language. Just write your thoughts. Represent your thoughts on that paper. Push it out to the editors.
And then he does the composition, everything, grammatical, syntax errors, correct.
All you need is your idea. A writer is someone who has ideas. Who picks ideas and arranges them in a way that it can be understood. Because it's communication. Communication is not complete until the person at the other end understands and gives a feedback. Once you can do that, you are a writer.
Now,
a writer is anyone who writes.
Beautiful. Now, in the course of teaching people the skill of poetry, how many students would you say that have passed through you and are now poets in their own respective
As
rights?
at last year, I counted, it was over 700.
Wow.
Not just in Nigeria, over 700. Every year I teach poetry. I have a class, a mentorship session I do every two months.
Okay.
So every year it means we have 6 sessions. And so far there has never been any session we had less than 30 people. So if we say, okay, 30 people only, since 2008 till now, you would see that 6 times 30 times.
Wow, the number of years.
Yeah, so over 700. And I don't think there's any slam you would organize right now that you won't see at least 5 of my students. And all of my students will end as the top.
That's quite an achievement.
Yeah, and that's why I've not been slamming. So there's a downside to that too.
You know, so
I've
you
not
don't
been slamming,
compete
though.
with your students.
I can't go there before they win me. These children are not smiling.
So, looking at the fact that you were a lecturer in Nasarawa State Polytechnic, Lafia.
Yeah.
What course did you teach there?
Nah. So I actually, how I started lecturing there was that, I had issues in school. I did not graduate when I was supposed to.
Graduate.
I was supposed to leave school 2010.
Okay.
But so many things happened, missing script. I got angry. The life of an artist.
Yeah.
I was impatient.
To hell with this
I said, get
people
out,
and all
man.
that.
I don't care anymore. How can you, and I was not an introvert. I was not introverted, I was an extrovert. Like, every time I come into school, people know that I'm coming into school. So I can't even hide to retake the exams. All of the times I came to write the exam again, people will always tell me, "What are you doing at school?" And they see me the exam hall, I'm like, and they're like, "You're writing for somebody." I'm like, no. So however I place it, it's still a shame on my face. I'm coming to write my paper, shame. You're coming to write for somebody, shame. I thought you're a moral person.
Exactly.
So it was really annoying for me. I just stopped taking it because I kept 3 years, the same papers kept getting missing. I got angry and I left it. Now,
village people.
When I was Nigeria's #1 poet, all of those things, winning so many slams, became popular. Some of my top friends, I will mention some of them, Timi Dakolo and Reverend Tari Hotuneki, or my pastor, he called me and he said, "See, I don't care what you have to say, just go and clear your papers. And this time around, when you are taking the exam, take pictures. Take pictures when you are, because we sign the attendance when you are taking it. Take pictures. The person you are giving it to, take pictures. Nobody will stop you. Then I want to see how the paper is going to get missing." And that's what I did. So the fees accrued over the years too was an issue. That was another beautiful story. How I got the money was through slams. I won slams. ALS, yes. I won ALS in 2016. 2017, I was cleared to go serve. 7 years after when I was supposed to graduate. So it was while I was serving, they employed me as an assistant lecturer. Okay. And the funny thing that happened was when I got there, in my heart, I was praying. I looked like a renegade already with the hair and everything in the north. So I was praying, "Lord, please, let them not send me home. This is Lafia, the capital of Nasarawa. Everything was nice. Everything was going on well. Please, I want them to give me a placement here." So when I got there, in fact, I would have done anything they said I should do. Okay. If they had said I should just be at the gate, I would have stayed at the gate. So I was praying, and the next thing they said was, "We are very sorry. You said you studied English?" I said yes. "And literary studies?" I said yes. "That means you know literature?" I said yes. And I said, "You know poetry?" I said yes. I was hoping that they say just teach poetry. And that was what they did. They said to me, "Come closer. You are going to be teaching poetry." And they were saying it like it was a punishment. The other lecturers in my department were happy that they've taken poetry and given to me. Of them. Whereas in my head, I was praying, "Lord, I don't want to teach any other thing aside poetry." So when it was like everything they didn't want to do was what I wanted to do. And it was beautiful. So I was teaching poetry. Black and White in Love was by a Cameroonian poet. Was what we did for that first year and the second year and continually. For those 2 years I was there, it was amazing until so many things happened. One of them was the students. I would have to teach with Hausa language. Some of them did not understand English language. So I was born in Kano State. I understand the Hausa language. So at first I did not understand. I will always be teaching. They'll be nodding their heads for 2 hours. Then when I'm done, I'm like, "Oh, any more questions?" Somebody will raise his or her hand and then say, "Well, like I'm telling you honestly, you're a very good teacher, but we don't understand what you said."
Are you for real?
For 2 hours. So I discovered
that. So why didn't they have like the temerity to just say, "Hello, sir, we're not understanding," so that you'll be early enough and you start to...
The way they were nodding their heads and smiling, you could have sworn they were understanding what I was saying. What broke the camel's back finally was, I'm a Barcelona fan. I was going to watch our Barca match, and Barca match is always in the evening.
Yeah.
So I was headed to go watch our match, and from across the road, my course rep, Ibrahim is his name, he hollered at me, "Hey, hey. I turned and I said, oh, Ibrahim, giddy morning, ma.
Giddy morning.
Giddy morning in the evening, and me, ma. Then I was not plaiting my hair. The next day I resigned and I came back home. It was not easy. I had to return. And I don't know about other people, but I like hearing new things when I go to church. I don't want you to tell me the same story I already know.
Yeah.
Tell me new things from the same Bible story we already know. Don't recount the story. Don't recite the story to us. But that was what was going on in Lafia. Most of the churches are still backwards. I like to hear good music, new good music. But imagine the choir would be singing, what is that song again? He came from heaven to earth as a special song.
And then that's something that you're already tired of. Like,
I'm tired. It's a stale song. I was in Lafia at that time that this movie came out. It was in the cinemas. What is it? Wakanda. What's the title of that movie again?
Wakanda's Black Panther.
Black Panther was raining. That was when I was in Lafia. And you can imagine, I did not see that movie because there was no cinema in Lafia. I had to take a vehicle to Abuja to watch Black Panther.
And then get back to...
And had to sleep. No, I stayed the night at Abuja there. I had to pass the night at Abuja. I paid for a hotel that I did not plan for. And that was when I was just, oh man, it was horrible. So it was after the service here. Yeah. I was like, oh, thank God it's done. Let's go home. They now said, no, we want you to be with us here. So they made me a permanent lecturer now, not an assistant lecturer. It was beautiful. But then this thing happened. I said, man, I can't keep up.
Challenges of passing on knowledge.
My dad had health challenges, CHD, coronary heart disease. Okay. So I needed to take him to India for his surgery. The money was not forthcoming. I had to return home. Here I will be having events. So regardless of whether I get paid from my office or not, I will get events and I can make up for it. So
but over there,
nothing, just this lecturer salary, which was not even much. So I had to return home and I continued what I was doing, got little monies, published Spoken Word Poetry 101. I returned home 2018. Okay. I left teaching there and I came back here I published that book in December 11th. I launched it in December 11th, 2018. And so far I've sold 8,000 copies.
Wow.
It was from there I got the monies to send Popsy to India for his surgery. And now he's better. No more falling on the ground. No more all of those. Your dad. Sometimes they will just call me, we've sent him to the hospital already. Imagine that kind of.
Imagine how that.
Yeah, so it was really annoying. People almost thought I had mood swings. Because the time, just now we are laughing, and another time I'm like this. Because of the calls that came in between. So it was good that he's fine. So all of the things I save are now for saving, for something constructive, not to save the life of somebody. So it was beautiful. So this was my experience in Nasarawa before I returned. It was not easy. But then the good thing to take away from it was I was not just teaching them poetry to pass their examinations. I was also teaching them poetry to be poets. So before I left, there were 4 of them who were doing poetry. 2 are still doing. I don't know about the other 2. I don't know where they are. Okay. But 2 are visible. Like I still see them post. MOP, a man of principle. He's now popular in the north there. Okay. So he was my student just in the school. Right now he does poetry for real. And he's everywhere.
Now, how much satisfaction does it give you to realize that, first of all, you teach poetry for free? And then that in itself is a huge contribution to society and to the poetry as an industry. And then seeing your students do well. What kind of, how do you feel when you get to see all that?
It's blissful. Now, the good thing is there were so many things I did well. I did correctly. I did not even know what I was doing. In fact, I was doing them because there were no other options. For instance, I was teaching poetry. Then in school, while I was in school, 2008, I just broke my leg. Yeah. I was looking for ways to be valuable. So I was teaching poetry then. After a while, it was now like I was having dissent from people who were like, what do they teach? You good, who you be? You look at you. What do they teach? You sabi? You can't do like this. I beg our own better pass this one way they do. So I didn't know. I was looking for some form of like a stamp that this guy is good. The only way that could happen was for me to win a slam. It was that unrest that pushed me. I was not relaxed at all. I never relaxed. So I moved on to winning that slam. It was when I won that slam, then more people came to me, teach me how you did it. Then the next slam made after that one. Samurai was actually second in the next competition. Yes.
Wow.
He came second. This was a guy that had all those issues. Paul Ward, my student, also was first.
Wow.
Third position was Bangkok, my student. This
You
was a
should
slam
be
I
very
just won.
proud, father.
Yeah, so it was exciting. I was proud. So many people joined again. That was when WhatsApp could only take 50 people. So we had 48, then they moved it to 70 people. We had 60 something. They moved it to 100. Now it's over 200.
Yeah.
So I had that class, 4 of them, over 200. So we were over 700. Figures of Speech was the name of the group. So there were so many people in the group. We were teaching poetry for free. Now, I didn't know I was doing it right. That was what brought us here. I was doing this thing because I was enjoying it just like that for the aesthetics. But I didn't know it was going to turn out to be something good, because few years later, that was the same 2018 that I returned. He is my friend. He has been my friend. But I didn't know he would turn out to be my mentor. We know this is our job. You will see somebody who will be helpful to you. Because of you too, you are successful in your own. You think all of you are the same. So Emeka Nobis is his name.
Okay.
So every time we meet at events, I'm a successful poet. Nigeria's #1 poet. He's a writer and author. And I'll be like, then I will go our separate ways. He calls me on phone, Graciano, very good poem. Today I have my birthday party at so and so. Please come and perform for me. I'll say, okay, this is what I charge. You'll say, okay, I can do this. I will come and perform. So we've been friends. I didn't know until one day we just sat at Eden Lounge. We were just chewing stuff. And he said, man, you have not published any book. I said, leave that in. I have 19 manuscripts. I can't publish any of them because I see what writers do. They go about begging, please buy my book. But I don't want to do that. I don't know how people do that. If it is pride, I don't care. Call me proud. I don't care. I can't be caught begging people to buy a book that I suffered to write. Okay, let's imagine. Look, it's economically not sound for me because I perform poetry. 5 minutes, 3 minutes, I get paid 80,000 naira.
Yeah.
For a poem that didn't take 14 minutes, 15 minutes to write. Didn't take 3 minutes to perform. And I have contacts of people. People see me, the farms in is real.
Exactly.
So why will I now sit down to go and write a book
And
now pay again to publish it, and now still begging people, give me 2,000 to take one of the 5,000 that I printed? I said, God forbid.
You probably didn't look at it from the other marketing distribution angles of pushing your book.
Emeka Nobis called me. He said, marketing is a beautiful thing. That he will teach me how to market my book. And he taught me, he said, first of all, you don't sell a book, you sell value.
Beautiful.
Graciano, you have been teaching poetry from the time I met you. He said, when did you start? He thought it was recent. I told him since 2008. He said, these people are your market. I said, but they are broke. He said, they are not broke. Nobody is broke. It depends on what you are selling. Put a price tag to it. People will buy it.
Exactly.
So what I did was I went back to all of the classes I've had. All of the questions I answered, frequently asked questions from all of those workshops, both the one I attended as a resource person and the one I organized. I gathered all of them and I answered the questions. Then I arranged them, put them in chapters. I made them into a book. I called it Spoken Word Poetry 101. It was beautiful. Then I went ahead to start asking people, which was what he taught me. I started asking my poets, fellow poets, even those that were within my level, not my students anymore. Yeah. If you are to write a book that will teach people how to write and perform and brand their poems, what would not be missing? They answered. I went to my students. If you want to buy a book, what is it that if it is missing, you will not buy it? They told me. I came back to add again.
The book.
So the book was complete.
And
then
rich.
I'm very rich. So I went ahead to talk to my fellow poets who had won slams recently in the past decade. I asked them to send their poems, slam-winning poems. I arranged them. I made it into a collection of poems and added to the last part of the book and published it. So it was like the first textbook on spoken word poetry.
Wow.
So Nigerians were the ones who bought it. Those students they were the ones that were announcing it. Oh yeah, even those of my students who are now teachers, they are now teaching their own groups.
Students, yes.
Yeah, they were telling them, go and buy the book. Like, why will you write another book when there is another book?
When there's an existing one that covers everything.
Yes. So they were just referring them to me, and I was paying some of them for referrals. So it was easy. Then came Corona, came the lockdown. I went online, Instagram, and I was doing the same thing, teaching poetry, performing poetry. I met lots of people. I have more American friends than I have Nigerians as friends on Instagram.
Wow.
I met one who is in the UK. Emma is her name. She told me, as a then she lost her dog. You know, these people are very the affinity
affected.
for this thing. She lost her
Animals.
dog. She told me, man, I lost Osama. I was so sorry for her, because that was like a sharing platform. You come share your problems. We do poetry to tell you sorry. Hey, yeah, do. So I didn't know it was a dog. She said I thought it was a human being, her cousin or something. I said, oh my God, oh Jesus. When she said it was her dog, I was almost angry. But I had to
just cover up.
Yeah,
you know?
like dog.
So that is meat over here.
So I endured and I told her, oh, sorry still. And then she told me she was close to committing suicide until she met Coronaverses. That's the program on Instagram. I said, oh, sorry. I didn't know that this lady had a job. She lost her job. She lost the dog. So she lost almost everything. She said as soon as she gets another job, that she's going to get my book. January, she got a job. January 2021, this year. She got a job and called me to send her book. I sent it to her. She read it. She gave it to her stepmother. Her stepmother is a top educator in the UK, not England, one of those Yorkshire states. So she read it and said it's a good book. She took it to schools. 3 of those schools indicated interest in buying the book. 2 schools paid money into Emma's account, and Emma called me that I should send my account details. She's going to send monies for the book. In my head, highest 20 or 10. I didn't know that they were about blowing my mind. This was during the homecoming of Burna Boy. I was very pissed that I was ignored, because they put my name on the list and took it up after a while. So, and my friends were calling me, your friend, and this is a mess up guy. Why will he be asking for 300,000, more than 300,000? Who is he? They didn't know my own was worse, that they took my name off
the list.
So I was crying that I lost 300,000. They now dashed them 10 million again. I was like, oh my God. So I did not just lose 300,000. I just lost 10 million naira too before this one came. 7.9 million was what they sent to print 2,000 copies.
Wow.
Yes. So you see, the book made me relax.
Very well.
It made me relax. So all of those things I did for free from 2008 to 2018 paid off. So the 10 years investment, and I couldn't have known all of this if I hadn't met Emeka Nobis, who has been my friend.
And he expounded your knowledge and frontiers into becoming an author.
Yeah.
Let's go for a short break, and then when we come back, we'll continue this wonderful. Welcome back, guys. Our guest on the show today, Sir Graciano Enwerem, has been thrilling us with his experiences in the poetry industry in Nigeria. But one fundamental question I want to ask him, Sir Graciano, we're having a lot of challenges. Having people recognize the poetry industry as a serious business of the creative arts. How can these challenges be overcome? How can poetry become so well accepted in society?
Okay, so there are 2 ways to look at it. The culprits, who are those that are stopping it from being accepted?
Okay.
I think most of the challenges poetry is facing right now is from those who perform the poetry. Now, there are 2 ways you can curate your art.
Okay.
One is expressive art and impressive art. So most times, I started like that too, I told you. I started out by writing expressive poetry, where you don't care about who is listening. You just want to unburden your heart. You just want to say what's on your mind. You just want to vent. But it's not like that if you want to make money. Okay. Poetry for business is not expressive. It's not necessarily expressive.
No.
There is hardly anything you would do right now. Every orator, every speaker has an audience.
That's true.
You see this guy that does, what is his name? The pastor in Onisha.
Okay, that does the drum beat and you'll get it down.
That release people and hit them on the ground. Odumne JJ.
Yeah.
You see that man, not everybody can sit and listen to him speak.
That's very true.
Me, for instance, it's not like I hate him, but I will laugh. And it will look like he's not a serious person, you know. So, but people listen to him, seriously listen to him, and they are blessed. So every orator has a speaker. There's no way you curate your art expressively that people will not listen. But the point is how many people listen. Going mainstream is a game of numbers.
That's true.
If you really want people, a lot of people to be drawn to this art, then you have to make a lot of people listen to it. Nigeria, whether you like it or not, even though English is our official language, not everybody understands the Queen's English.
That's very true.
We have an issue with language. I told you of my experience in the North as a lecturer.
Sorry, yeah.
This is a higher institution. People in the higher institution, I had to use Hausa to teach them.
Sad.
Here it is pidgin. And how about if we do what the Chinese did? You see, top performing engineers, they don't speak English language. They speak their Mandarin.
Beautiful, yes.
And they write well. They perform their jobs with aplomb. So we could do that. Language should not be an inhibition. You shouldn't use the English language to judge someone's
brilliance or knowledge.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you could actually know a thing without necessarily speaking the English language. But it's very difficult here in this country. It's difficult. So the language is the barrier, one of it. Secondly, intellectualism. High intellectualism. I had that issue where people believe that poetry is a talent. Leave it like that. If you don't have it, you don't have it. No, sir. Poetry is a skill. People can hone their skill. People can make it better, perform it, get better at it. So another challenge we're having is platforms, lack of platforms. So we need plenty platforms. You don't have to start a WhatsApp group. Like what I told some of my mentees yesterday night, I told them, I said, the best way to promote poetry is by being a good poet yourself. Better your yesterday. So every day you wake up, ask yourself, how do I communicate better? Because poetry is a communication art. So as a poet, as a writer, as an artist, you have to know that there are two ways you can curate your art. It was a very big issue. Two schools of thought. One was saying you have to write expressively, perform expressively, say what's on your mind, don't care who is listening. The other people were saying no, say what your audience want to listen because they're the ones they pay you. He who pays the piper dictates the tune. Two of them are right and two of them are wrong. My question is, what stops you from doing the two? Two of them are important. If you express your art, if you write your art or curate your art expressively, what happens is that you heal your soul. If you express your art impressively, you fill your pockets, and the two are important. If you don't have money, your art will frustrate you. If you also do not express your art, you will become pretentious. People do not glide towards you.
And then you don't find satisfaction
yourself. You don't find satisfaction yourself. That's why you see people dying of depression as artists. Because they are yearning to satisfy the yearnings of their audience, of their fans, and they are not getting the fulfillment they need. As an artist, you need the two. You have to be complete. Express yourself and also make sure that you have those monies coming in. So another reason is that, like I said in the class last night, I said we don't even have an industry. What we have is a community. For an industry to function well, we need all the game players to be intact.
That's true.
All we have as poets now are writers and performers. Even those that have the platforms are also writers and performers. Those who organize slams, they are poets. Those who invest in poetry are poets. Yes. If we have people investing that are not poets, we have companies investing in poetry, it will go mainstream.
What do you think would entice this company's brands or show promoters to look the way of poetry?
The poets have to do stuff intentionally. They should be asking this question to themselves. What do I do to bring these major investors to invest in my art? As an individual, don't bother about as a group, poets in Nigeria. No, leave poets in Nigeria. Leave poets in Port Harcourt. You. What do you do to have people? We saw what Heritage Bank did with poetry in what is it called? The event, BB Niger.
BB Niger.
We saw what they did. You know, have poets do the advert. We could do that. Heroes Ledger Bear too is doing the same thing. We could do that. You have to choose to brand yourself better. Then send in those letters to have your brand managers or your artist manager, however it is, have them send those letters to these brands and tell them this is what we hope to achieve with poetry, and we believe it could serve you like this. Look at what I've achieved. Look at what I've done with poetry. It is a better option. How did we get here in the first place? Performing poetry alongside musicians. We were not here before.
That's true.
I know how many halls I swept to perform poetry for free. We could do the same thing. We could do the same thing with adverts. Go to event centers. It started out as, okay, since I cannot afford a musician, let me afford poets. That was how it started. They could not afford musicians. Before you bring a musician to your event, you talk about his logistics, you talk about his backup singers and his crew, you talk about the music,
his accommodation,
his accommodation, everything. But for a poet, only one person stands on the stage, does the same thing and leaves. If it is somebody like me, I will kill the show still. You don't have to bring musicians. I don't even need music in my background. Just me talking. I performed in front of 10,000 people in 2014. I've performed in front of 4,000, 2,000 people. So is it your small crowd of 500 people or 250 people that I cannot satiate? So this was how it started. Oh, since I cannot afford a top musician, I can afford a top poet. And there are some events you can't bring music to.
Yes.
Except if it's a soul music. There's some event like book launches. You can't bring, I don't want to sing any song. Leave your hands in the air. No.
And then do all the crazy dance and all that.
You can't bring those.
Yeah.
The other one. You can't bring those ones there. You have to bring a poet. It's intellectual content. Also, in seminars, there are some seminars. There are some events I just performed in, like the one organized by the Ministry of Information. That was last week. That one, for instance, you can't put your hands in the air. These are the events we need to be targeting.
Now, don't you think these are the challenges, some of the challenges, because poets are seen as a special class of artists. They are not for everybody. They stand out like, when you look at classical music, it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
Don't you think it's in that same class that poets should place themselves so that their audience may not be everybody, but it's worth their while?
Yes and no. If all of us accept that, poetry is for special people, is for a special kind of audience, then we'll also be limiting ourselves, because the plan is to go mainstream. Is to have everybody understand. Like one of the major players in the poetry community that I respect is Oshundere, Professor Ni Oshundere. Yeah. He said, the market women, if they can understand poetry, then it's fine. It doesn't have to be in English language. Like my pastor would say, God does not answer your prayer because you prayed in King James Version.
Yes.
Lord, thou knowest that thou hearest me. God does not always only hear when you speak in King James Version.
That's sure.
Speak your dialect.
And he would hear
He even hears groans. So look for the languages that people understand and speak to them. You don't go to the park where touts are and then you are speaking, gravitate with tremendous acceleration and alacrity because a gigantic pure water will hit your face.
Straight up.
And
because you're not communicating and you're just wasting their time talking gibberish to them.
Like I said before, every orator has an audience. Poets should just say what they want to say to people they want to talk to. Dynamism plays well, of course. People like me, I'm dynamic. I could perform poetry in Hausa language. I could perform poetry in Igbo. I'm Igbo. I could perform poetry in the English language because that's my
Can we have a feel of this dexterity that you have? just give your fans or your audience a little feel of what you have.
Which one now?
Anyone that comes to your
mind. Maricha.
Beautiful.
My name is Ezebugo Ugochukwu Iwu. I am here to tell you how very, very terrible much I love EU. I am an importer-exporter, pure water, no gutter. All the vehicles laden goods only are mine. But I am Lady Baby. I'm ready to be with you from your Valentine. Lie down, 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 down to your famine. On Malicha, we're not quarreling, but we can settle. These your ribs are like Indian hospital. Your tongue piece from there like sausage from Garamachi. A kiss from you can cure Ebola. What I say is slow, God knows. I am so much rubbing your nose. It is a manu, oeri, rakakala, but I can sit stand on it and see beautiful Africa. No teacher teaches better than your hips. They teach the equator opposing tips. Toro, toro, is carols. It is a that is pompous. Your shape can make father shout, tanana, but your heart is pure white like Santana. Omaricha, you walk like a dancer, yeah? Your smile can cure cancer. Your teeth make me adore my night. They sparkle, fiam, fiam, like Christmas rites. Omaricha, around me. Maybe around me, no. Around me to support you like blessed and blah. I want to fight for you here, like my Biafra. I will be jelly. Pursue you and call you Tom twice until your Tom sweet. I want to pour on you my permit of kindness. I want to manage you like my business. I want to manage you. I don't want to damage you. If you tell me, wait, utozi boy, buy a mat. I hate the church, but I can be a church lad. I can be blood. If you'll be my sis, I can be 5 and still be your 6, just ugly, no. Ugly to be mine. And I'll be with you from your Valentine. Lie down to your famine. Oh, Malicha, don't mind this roughing and this and focus on the rook and see what you're missing. Oh, Malicha, you ugly or you know ugly? Thank you, dear.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was awesome. That was indeed a very wonderful performance. Graciano, sir, what's in the future? What more do we expect from you?
So, like I said, I did not have plans. I did not plan to come this far, really. I won't even lie.
Okay.
You know, I did not, it was just like, let's just go. The more I go, I see, oh, here, this road here, I enter again. This was how I started. So I won't even lie, I did not have plans. Right now, I just want to chill. I just want to chill. I was not, I got here because I didn't see any form of comfort. There was no convenience in any way. Family-wise, I was depressed for years. I was depressed for years because my parents were like, man, you brought this upon yourself. We sent you to school to focus on schooling. Then you got into this issue. Look at, you are writing. Now look at, you can't even graduate. You did not focus. So they left me to fend for myself, and it was like that until the slums happened. Winning War of Words was an eye-opener. Nigeria started calling me. I got into the news. I Google my name sometimes. I'm like, are you serious? I need to meet myself.
Wow.
So this was how I got here. Right now, I just want to do more of what works. You know, we keep building. I noticed that the internet is now the easiest way. I just told you how I sold 2,000 books in less than 3 months. Yeah. And made 7.9 million naira. I believe the internet is a gold mine.
Serious one.
It's an avenue. It's like Lungu. Oh, this is not the north. Lungu is Kona. Like, this is the main road. Yeah, shortcut. This is the main road. There's traffic. Oh God, move, let me move. They are blocking the road for you. You take Lungu. You take the backside, and then you look at what comedians are doing with
skits and all that.
Before, you have to beg people like AY to perform on stage. Right now, you don't need those ones. Just go online, post your. So I want to do more skits. And like I didn't mention it before, but I was about to, I forgot. Poetry is a blank slate. It's a tabula rasa. You write whatever it is you want to write. For me, I stopped doing uhuru poems because I noticed that it doesn't change anything. We saw what happened during the NSAS movement. Yeah. People that you are fighting for will be the ones that will pay to come and fight you. So why should we keep doing uhuru poems and get killed in the process? Chinua Achebe said in his book that the cowards stay in their mansions and point at the graveyards of the heroes. So you see that one where they fight that time, no, we'll get killed in that time. Then those that ran away and said, I beg, we want to survive, they are the ones who have mansions. So it's not like I'm trying to reduce the dexterity or discourage uhuru, but I'm saying that's what I want to be doing. I want to do less of the uhuru, of the government shall die tomorrow poems, of no, leave us and let us go. Let us stay outside and be telling you people, wow, this country. So the plan is to promote more love, promote more fun, Even when you are saying something serious, look at what the comedians are doing. A comedian can go and yab the president and go scot-free.
That's true.
Why?
That's
Because he presents his case on a tray of comedy, laughter. Everybody wants to laugh. Even the kidnapper, the hired assassin, has someone he's in love with.
Exactly.
They pray before they leave. So everybody loves love. What we should do is to promote more love. And it's easy if you are doing it with the arts. That's what I want to be doing.
So talking about love and promoting love. Tell us about your love life. And what, Graciano, we haven't seen that there is anything on your fingers depicting,
My fingers are
and
DJs.
you look more just imagine your Malicha story and then imagine it's someone being with you. Graciano, tell us about your love life.
Okay, so, oh my God. I don't want to bring family into this. Okay, I come from a family where all my cousins, all my cousins, they all have children outside wedlock.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Like, some of them have like 4 children from different girls. So, it became worrying for me because it was now like if you smile at a girl, she gets pregnant. So
highly potent guys.
So it's scary, and this has made me to say, oh, even if I won't ever, even if I see a girl I want to marry, I won't even let her know until I'm very sure and I'm ready. So right now, I have someone, but I have not told her, and I'm very sure she's single. And like the rest of the other Okpekes, the rest of the Amalekites, she's also praying that God opens my eye, but my eye has already opened.
Been open. And you are sure she's not a Jebusite?
No, she's not. So it is like that. For us artists, it is difficult to choose a lover or someone you want to be with. If you check very well, you see it's either you go back and marry your friend from childhood, or because there are so many gold diggers out there.
For crazy human beings.
Very
without
good.
home training.
It's a poor country.
And then with the advent of the feminist agenda. And
some people see marriage as an end to their poverty, problems. You know. So you are very careful not to make the mistake. Most of my friends, I mean, I'm not talking about my age mates. I'm talking about my older friends are not married. This is their challenge. This is the challenge.
I have some like that too.
Some of them are now single parents. They prefer to have their own child and take care of the child. Look at C. Ronaldo, for instance.
Exactly.
You have your child take it. Most people do that. You know, I was tempted to do that, but I said, no, let it be.
Family is all good. Family is good. I can
and
tell
you see, I'm the only child of my parents, Igbo parents. Wow. My mom is Jamaican, but but my dad is from Imo State. So you see, they are already looking at me, but they are scared of shouting because you can't shout at me now. Like, I know when you got married. Exactly. Popsy, I know when your life was better. You did not get married on time. So leave me, don't shout at me.
So lastly, before we wrap up this segment, you have mentored a lot of young and budding poets. And the challenges that you faced, some of them will still face these challenges. As since the industry is not yet what it should be, what is your advice to them?
Okay, so first of all, my advice is always grow up, don't jump up. So I see most poets making the mistake. There are 2 kinds of poets. The ones who have the content, but they don't know how to brand themselves. I fell into this category. I had good I knew how to write. Trust me, I could write anything. But poetry was the easiest for me. But I did not know how to brand myself. I could wear boxers to the market and come back. I didn't care. I could eat on the road. My hair is naturally brown. So, and then I don't comb it. If you see my old pictures, you will see I didn't even know it was wrong to wear checkered shirt or checkered trouser. I didn't know all of those. I didn't know it was, as a short person, someone who is not very tall, you don't wear fat trousers too. You know, you don't wear flat shoes, the ones that are long. Those were my usual shoes. I loved them. So this is another a type of a group.
Grooming.
People need to know. Then another group of poets that need help are those who do not care about making their poetry good. they are all after the fanzine, the flashboards, oh, do you know who I am? So they make their hair like I make mine. They dress like I do, and then speak like I do, and they think that's all. No, your content is also part of your branding. So my job to help these people is to make sure they come to that parity where your content is healthy enough. Okay. At the same time, you also know what branding is. Knowing a skill and knowing the business of that skill are two different things. Exactly. This was why I wrote Sticks and Stones. You have to be complete, inept. You have to be adept at knowing things about emotional intelligence, street intelligence, financial intelligence. Financial intelligence was my worst. I didn't know anything about it. I was one of those playing this betting thing, online football betting. I was playing it until I lost money. I learned my lesson. So football betting, financial, street intelligence. You know, I've lost phones to these guys because I come from events very late. Okay. You know, you are running away from the police. You are running away from the thieves. It's horrible. So you are just endangered. As long as you are coming at night, if police see you, you're a thief. Exactly. If a thief sees you, they are collecting things from you.
You are not sent to them.
But you know, if you dress like this, you know they show boys love. Nah, street don't make you. One of them told me this recently, and I was laughing. I was going to the bank, and he said, my guy, oh boy, star boy, show here. So I came around, and I was not like I came there because I was headed to that place already. So they said, star boy, show street love. Will they support you? There were about 8 of them. I said, no, they support me. He said, you're supposed to show street, now he make you. We will know you now. I say, what do I do? He said, see this guy, we they dance to your song. And I told them, I know they sing. Say, Bobby, anything they do, they support you. It was
because in the situation that you find yourself, something must come out.
So, and do you know, that day, I was fighting with myself. Take a cab directly. And I was like, no, let me save this money and walk. Finally, I ended up giving them some money, which I would have used to pay the cab guy. So you see, street intelligence teaches you that sometimes, if you're not paying, going in a cab is not for comfort. It's also for security.
Exactly.
Some things we think are just aesthetical. They are also logical.
Very, very.
So it's not just for the farms in. Sometimes it's also to help you, save you from
all them
unnecessary issues.
Because apart from the fact that maybe they wanted some money, some could have hurt you.
Yes, now. These were good guys. Exactly. They were good bad boys.
Exactly.
If they were bad boys,
then like, maybe the worst would have
what will 800 do for 8 people? 100 naira. They would have beaten me up there.
Or like the story of Lucky Dube, who lost his life.
Yeah.
To bad boys.
Yes.
At night too.
My uncle died like that. Oh. He was shot just in front of us. He was about to be kidnapped. He ran away. They wanted to take his car. He ran back. They shot him and he took the car. So that time you ran, why didn't you just take off at once? Exactly. You're not even supposed to run. Because you can still make that money again. So these are emotional intelligence issues that these things look like it's far. It happens to us as artists. You have to look dab like me. This is a showbiz.
Exactly.
You have to look dab. You have to look the part to make more money. And if you don't look this part, you won't make money. If you say, okay, I want to save myself, you won't make money. Then if you look this part, you should also expect kidnappers to see you easily. Yes. Expect religious people to see you. Like somebody came to me and said, what would Jesus say about this your hair? I said, Jesus bad punk. He now said, okay, for instance, now, police now come here. You don't know they will think you are the criminal. I say, you and the police are stupid. Exactly. That policeman, he's stupid. You are stupid. Because the criminals that have been caught, that have been very, very popular in recent years, did not have dread. They did not plait hairs. They are not like me. They are like you. They look like pastors. Evans the kidnapper. He looked like
David the very trim, good, like a pastor.
Like David the Billman. Like you expect him to speak in tongues in the bus. The guy that was going from one hotel to the other, killing people. Gracious David West. He no dreads, no plates, no afro self. Otokoto, we know him. So I told them, I said, you people are stupid. Just, I was coming back from Nasarawa the other day. Policeman was shaking and pointing me gun. This was before the NSAS thing. He was shaking. I said, don't go and kill me. Oh. Look at you, you're scared. Just by seeing me. Then I wasn't pleased. I was having, what is it called? Afro. Oh, okay. I'm like, look at this guy. He was shaking. You open your bag. I said, don't shoot me. Oh. Okay, point my leg. Instead of you to point my head, point my leg. Before you shoot me, I say, if there are 10 people who are good in this country, I'm one of those 10. Don't go and shoot me in the name of you are scared. So we are searching my bag. I brought out, I even forgot that, what is it called? Malaria medicine. The remaining that I have not taken was in the bag. He said, hey, hard drug. I said, yes, so. Hard drug when they draw mosquito. He said, you're teaching me my job. I said, are you a chemist? Are you a chemist? So these are issues, street intelligence. I need poets to know this. I've stopped teaching poets how to write better, how to perform better. Now I'm focused on how to brand better. So this was why I wrote Spoken Word Poetry 101. If you need to know how to write better, you go get the book, Spoken Word Poetry 101. But right now, my focus is these things because I lost 2 people last year to depression. Oh. 2 of them committed suicide.
Sir Graciano.
Yeah.
This session alone will not allow us to exhaust all that you have.
Yeah.
How can our viewers continue to follow you so that they can, this experience will be an unending one? Tell us how they can reach you.
Okay, so I'm very active on Instagram and on WhatsApp especially. So you can always contact me via my phone numbers. Just send a message on WhatsApp, and I'm going to reply as quickly as possible. 0806 0878235 0806 0878235. And on socials, I'm at Graciano Enwerem, GRACIANOENWEREM. Enwerem. So everywhere on socials. On YouTube, there are some of my videos too that you would enjoy, both the stage performances and videos shot properly, official videos of some of the poems I've done. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's been a wonderful experience.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I feel honored, sir.